Kia ora, and welcome to the Beer of the Week Drink Along. I'm Luke, and who are you?
I'm Matt. I don't work here anymore, but I made this beer, so here I am.
This week's beer we are drinking is from Small Gods, and it is a table beer. And Matt is exactly right. It was made by Matt and me, who are also the Small Gods team.
So I'm sure you know that I know that you've had a lot of Small Gods beers before, and we love table beers at Small Gods. So a table beer is a light session strength Belgian pale ale, essentially. And this is our take using Evergreen Hops, which is a new hop blend that is being put out by BSG in the United States, and they won't tell us what's in it. It's some combination of a modern German hop that has been crossbred with or blended, I should say, with one of the kind of big name US West Coast, East Coast hops, West Coast hops. Sorry, it's been too long since I've done this. I've lost the neck. So it's got designed specifically for light and sessionable stuff like hoppy lagers, and it's got a really nice kind of citrus, hay, sweet spice character, which blends really well with the Lallemand Abbey yeast that we used to ferment the beer. And it's just a nice, balanced, light, easy drinking, flavorful mid-strength beer.
We'll have a swig to see if you still agree with that. You might not have drank any for a day or two.
I've had my last can at home. So.
Back for more. So as much as we're talking about the hops, this is not a hoppy beer necessarily. I mean, a Belgian person would say it's hoppy because for a table beer it's pretty bloody hoppy. But for all you New Zealanders that are used to IPAs and pale ales, don't go into drinking this thinking it's going to be a hop bomb. This is a table beer, which is a beer that's designed for the table. So it's about balance. The yeast is probably the most important character. It's about the interesting malt profile, and also about the lovely sprinkling of hops there to give it some interest, give it some bite, give it a lovely bitterness that make it really refreshing. Just keep coming back for more sips.
Yeah, and I'm really enjoying that hop character in there where it's got that kind of lime zest note, kind of spritzy citrusiness that sits on top of that yeast character where you've got those layers of spice and a slight earthiness. But yeah, it's the kind of beer that I want to drink all day. It's just easygoing, flavorful, but doesn't whack you around the head with it. It's the kind of beer that when you think about it, there's lots of layers and lots of stuff going on, but it's easy to sit with a jug with your mates and pair it with all sorts of food, have a can with dinner. 3.6%. It's just it's not going to blow your socks off. It's barely above one standard drink in the can. Yeah,
it's a pretty classy beer, and it's pretty subdued. You know, in this world of craft beer these days, where beers are all made with guava and milk sugar and exciting big flavour ingredients, and that's often people's journey with craft beer. That people get into drinking craft beer and they're into the dragon fruit, chocolate, raspberry beer. Which at Small Gods we're pretty into that crazy shit as well, but we're also into the historic styles, and yeah, as Matt says, beers that are designed for drinking sessions of, and it's a thing that it is nice to see when a brewery does a beer really well that is a sessionable sort of beer that you can just drink glass after glass of. And this is the third table beer that we've done at Small Gods. We don't have a core range. In the last couple of years, I think we've done 40 different beers, and they've all been one-off beers. Brand new recipe, brand new label, everything completely from scratch every time. So a pretty inefficient way to make beers. But the closest thing we have to a core range is these table beers. So it all started off with, what was our first one?
So Galahad was our first table beer. So you may have remembered that had a little cup that had a bunch of different interesting hops in it. Some Fuggles in there, some Centennial, I believe, Atarnum, and Amarillo, I think. And yeah, that was kind of on the earthier side. Our second table beer was BOTW, which we brewed with the awesome team at Whistling Sisters down in Wellington.
Legends.
And that was showcasing some modern French hops, Ariana and Callista.
Yeah.
And this is kind of probably more kind of halfway in between the two. The yeast character is more and malt character is more reminiscent of Galahad, but it's got kind of more of the hop profile of
BOTW.
BOTW.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the names, as is obvious to anybody, are named after the Knights of the Round Table. We did a bit of a crack up with the revelation when we realised that we could release a series of table beers named after the Knights of the Round Table. We couldn't believe no one had done it before.
Yeah, excellent. So happy with that.
And Gawain famously battled the Green Knight. Last year I did a bit of a Europe trip and stopped by the British Library in London, and it's pretty amazing to see the illuminated manuscript of the Gawain and the Green Knight, and it's just brilliant to see this book that's 800 years old, just with these brilliant illuminated illustrations in. And the film's really good as well. It came out a year or two ago with Dev Patel.
Yeah, I still haven't been able to see it because it's not available for streaming in New Zealand at the moment. But I've been trying to find it legally, and haven't been able to yet. But
brilliant film. It's called The Green Knight, about the story of Gawain, like sort of modern telling.
Yeah. But a lot of you will be familiar with the Knights of the Round Table from stuff like Monty Python. And The Search for the Holy Grail is probably the biggest kind of pop cultural reference, but all those Arthurian myths and legends, and there's heaps to draw from there. So expect to see a bunch more table beers coming out from Small Gods. I think the intention is still to always have a table beer available, so they tend to last us about 2 or 3 months, and then we'll have another one coming through. We'll be showcasing different malt bases, different yeast strains, different hops, and it's just really nice to have that everyday, drinkable, flavourful, bright, light beer that you can keep coming back to.
Yeah, and coming up from Small Gods, there may be a double IPA getting released towards the end of next week, so keep your eyes peeled for the next Small Gods IPA in the Monster series to follow on from Chupacabra and Bassa Bassa.
So that's going to be another cold IPA, but we've taken a different tack. So you may remember Chupacabra was our Mexican cold IPA, using Mexican lager yeast, Mexican lager based, and Neo-Mexicanos hops. Then the Bassa Bassa was our Japanese cold IPA with a Japanese rice lager base, and using Japanese Sorachi Ace hops. And we've gone for another avenue with this, which we'll tell you more about in future weeks.
Who will be revealed, someone in the future. Other beer jerk news, it is Valentine's Day coming up, so we've got a really awesome Valentine's mix case where we've paired 6 different beers with 6 chocolates from Ocho down in Dunedin. And we've got a couple of cool mix boxes that will be coming up online in the next few days, so keep an eye out on your emails for those. Well, cheers for joining us, Matt. It's bloody good beer, I reckon.
Yeah, it's delicious. And keep an eye out for Pacific Coast Brewery coming online very soon.
Who are they?
That's me. You'll see. Cheers.
Cheers, and cheers to you, jerks.